We begin with security matters. No fewer than 15 persons have been reportedly killed in renewed violence by gunmen in Bokkos and Mangu local government areas of Plateau State. The recent violence happened on Thursday night at Manja community of Chakfem Kingdom in Mangu and Tangur community in Bokkos. It was gathered that the attackers stormed the communities at different times. While Tangur attack was around 9 p.m. when people were already retiring to bed, that of Chakfem was much earlier. Director of Culture, Mangu Development Association and Director, IDP Pilot Science Camp in Mangu, Jordan Ibrahim, confirmed the death toll of the Mangu attack, saying there is currently tension in the community. And joining us to discuss the Plateau attack is the Executive Director, Cyber Africa, Ambassador Chris Iyama. Ambassador Iyama, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Now, some people say these attacks are communal clashes. Others think it is genocidal invasion by terrorists in Plateau State. But then, how would you describe it?
You see, sometimes I wonder the kind of reportage that some people report, because it's not fair. This is terror. This is terrorism in action. This is genocide. This is ethnic cleansing. Because you cannot call people are sleeping in the dead of the night and then some other group of people attack them because they are well armed, and you call it communal clash. It's like you're saying two fighting. Who and who? Who and who? And so I think the earlier we put a proper diagnosis to these things, the earlier the better for Nigerians, especially for these helpless people living in these communities. They are not armed. They go to their farms. No, they cannot afford AK-47 and some other groups that have opportunity and resources backed up with some kind of militia groups are well armed to cause damage, to kill and destroy, name these people. And then people report that it is communal clash. For crying out loud, this is not fair to the dead people. This is not fair. It is better we come out clean and say this is terrorism in action. When people come to reclaim lands that are not theirs, is that communal clash? So, because some of this is the reason why this thing persists for a very long time is because we are not diagnosing the right thing. So, how can there be a proper treatment? This is not communal clash. This is nothing but terrorism, full-scale terrorism. It's happening in Bokkos, it's happening in Mangu, it is happening in Barak and Ladi, it is happening in Rion, it is happening in Bassa, it is happening in several local governments. And we call it communal clash. This is not true. This is not communal clash. This is full-scale terrorism. And the security agencies must live up to their expectations.
Now, Chris, talking about Tangur and Chakfem, they were actually hit same day with a couple of hours in between. What do you think actually give these marauders the boldness? Can you hear me? Okay, I think we just lost our connection with Chris right there, but then we'll try to establish connection with him to get more details from him. In the meantime, we're joined by our correspondent, Chizoba Anyonwe, who would also be giving us updates as regards this killing. Now, Chizoba, good evening to you. Let us understand the situation with these attacks, most especially the latest in Tangur and Chakfem. Are these attacks reprisals? Are they ethnic cleansing? Is it genocidal? Is it resource control? What exactly is this form of attack?
Welcome to Plateau State. We're not saying welcome here because of this series of insecurities here and there on the plateau. But I mean, this is what has continued to surprise around the world. That each and every time we wake up and hear facts that incidences and stories here and there. I mean, like this. That just happened yesterday with Mangu and of course the local government area. So what I gathered from the locals, I mean, nothing gave rise to this. There was no rustling of cattle, there was no killing of anybody, there was no destruction of farmland, and yet it happened. So it's worrisome. You know, some people have said pure genocide, just like Ambassador Chris just said, it is terrorism, you know. And I mean, some of them just say it is criminality in all ramifications. But if I keep speaking English and qualifying these attacks with one word or the other, people are worried. People's lives are being cut short when they know nothing about this criminality here and there. for people in authority, in different quarters, the security agencies, the government, and then, other stakeholders, these building agencies, human rights activists, and all those. It's a wake-up call for each and everyone to put hands together so that all these killings would come to an end. That's the cry of everyone.
No, how saddening and traumatizing it is for those affected, and of course, even you having to report this. But before I go back to my guest, I'd like to quickly find out what is the situation now in those two communities affected, Tangur and Chakfem.
Okay, so I spoke with one Mr. Cash, who lives in Mangu local government area. He said camp has been restored, security personnel, but also with the voice last night that and people are already mourning their loved ones. All they are saying is that people should live up to their responsibility to ensure that these things not happen again and again. While he was speaking to me, I could hear cries from the background, people that are mourning their loved ones. They were not sick, they didn't have any issue. Plus, the fact that they were just being sad that 2 days before this event happened, they woke up, but they cut down, by unknown people, but they suspect, according to him, that these are alleged planning that are going to cut down their crops that are almost at the point of harvesting, and then they also saw some of them, some of these farmlands being destroyed, where animals, cattle, have eaten down these crops. And this is like about 10 hectares of land that he was talking about. So, while camp has been restored, they said set up, what is it called? Set up some of these checkpoints so that people will feel their head. As long as set up this I believe that this is the only section that they will have place that no calm and peace restored in this area. But if there's no police community, they may continue to exist this. So that is the situation. All the states that calm has been restored, and the prayer of people that this calm continues unabated.
Okay, so just stay with me for a while. I'd like to quickly talk to our guest, Ambassador Chris, to equally put this in perspective and get what his opinion is. Now, Tangur and Chakfem, as I said earlier, were hit the same day. And we can give these attackers different names, terrorists, marauders, bandits, kidnappers, and all whatnot. But then, what do you think actually gives these people the boldness to attack communities in Plateau State?
It's simple. It's not far-fetched from the fact that oftentimes this is not just allegation. This is the fact that oftentimes, even when these people are even arrested, they have some highly placed people somehow in government or whatsoever, in security agencies, that somehow just let them go. And so there's no proper punishment to these people. And so therefore, the other day, I'm sure you saw some videos flying in one of the northern states of this country, where even a particular governor sat with bandits or sat with criminals, terrorists, brandishing AK-47 in the name of they came to dialogue with the community that have been terrorizing and killing their people. For crying out loud, why are we handling these things with kid gloves? These people know the attackers, they know where the terrorists reside. Why can't the security agencies go after them? In fact, in that particular video, in that particular local government in one of the northwestern states in this country, we saw security agencies like the police, the army, the civil defense. They were the people escorting these terrorists that we're talking about. And then we're using torchlights to search for terrorists. What kind of joke is that? Is it until they kill everybody in the country, that is when people will sit up to their responsibility? The primary business of any government, whether state or federal or local government, is to protect the lives and properties of the people. So when you fail in these primary responsibilities, you have failed in administering governance.
Now, Chris, that's where we are going to.
They don't know where these terrorists are. They need to go after them.
Yes, so let's dwell there now before I go back to our reporter Chizoba. Based on what you've seen so far, Chris, what do you think, or what has Governor Caleb Mutfwang done to address these killings?
The truth of the matter is the governor is trying his best. He cannot do much more, because we have been saying, let us empower, let the constitution empower community policing in such a way that our locals who understand the terrain in this area will be well armed to safeguard their communities. If that is not done, I'm afraid that not just Governor Caleb, every other governors in this country will have nothing to do in terms of protecting their people, except by recruiting local vigilantes that are not properly armed. And so this is where people need to do their best, protect themselves as much as possible. But above all, it is not only Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Other governors in this country, they have to find a way of working out things with the federal government and the National Assembly in such a way that community policing will be enforced in our constitution, so that the local vigilantes will be well armed to protect their people. That is the only way we can stop this madness.
Ambassador Chris, I'll come to you in a bit. Now, Chizoba, you've been our feet, our eyes and ears in Plateau State for a while now. How would you describe the security design or the architectural design, most especially in the rural areas affected by these violent attacks?
There are some points not very all that, but even of it all, there are many offices of the area. Not that kept on saying, you know, it's also a call on them. Almost in everywhere they need to
Chizoba, sorry I had to cut you right there. We're having a bit of a scramble on your audio quality. But I'd like you to put all those details in a report and let us have it so that the world can see. But then I would like to quickly go back to Ambassador Chris. Now, you talked about the fortification of local security and architecture in Plateau State. But then let's juxtapose that with what the president said in Benue State a few days ago when he called for a setup of a peace committee involving indigenous and non-indigenous to create a framework for lasting peace. Do you think that can work?
That is, again, wrong diagnosis will lead to wrong medication. When the president said, okay, they are going to set up a peace forum where people will dialogue together and solve the situation, that is in the case of two fighting, when two communities are dragging land or fighting for something else. But in this case, how can you dialogue with terrorists? How can you dialogue with criminals? What are they fighting for? So this is not farmer headers clash. That's a wrong narrative. That is not farmer headers clash. If it was farmer headers clash, we would say, okay, let us dialogue. But this is beyond this. This is pure terrorism in action. So how can you begin to dialogue with criminals? And that is the problem. That's the reason why we have not moved past these things in the past 1 decade, past 10 years. We are still carrying these things with deep blows, because we are saying it is communal clash. So therefore, people should sit down, community should sit down with people. Who do they want to dialogue with? Is it the criminals that went with a particular state governor to a particular community to go and dialogue or to reason? Criminals brandishing with AK-47? Let's just call it like what the Tortif said the other day. When people come to your land, attack because they want to take over their land, you don't dialogue with such people. You meet them with the full scale of the law. That is how to deal with this kind of issue. So it's not about bringing people together to come and dialogue. There is nothing to dialogue except federal government going about this. This is an ideological war. And so you must win them ideologically, both in every form you want to think you want to win them. These people are not people you have to sit down with. The federal government, the security agencies must go after these attackers and bring them to justice. For crying out loud, we've lost a lot of people, and we cannot continue to lose our brothers and sisters in our local communities. We owe them the sense of duty and responsibility to protect them and their properties.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Chris Inyama, for sharing your passionate thoughts with us. And of course, Chris Obanyowe, rather, for also bringing us the updates from Plateau State. We appreciate that. So we're going to break on the news anyway, and when we return, National Security Advisor, 36 states launch joint action to tackle food inflation. We'll bring you the details in a short while. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. We now talk about food insecurity. The National Security Advisor and governors from 36 Nigerian states have joined forces to tackle rising food inflation and improve food security. They agreed to work with the federal government to harmonize levies, remove illegal checkpoints, and ensure the free flow of goods across states. Despite a technical drop in national food inflation to 21.14% in May 2025, many states still face rising food prices due to insecurity, supply disruptions, and poor infrastructure. Governors highlighted the impact of illegal taxation and checkpoints on food costs. A high-level committee has been formed to address these issues and has submitted recommendations. To discuss this, we're joined by an economic analyst, George Brown. Mr. Brown, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, we seem to be having poor connection at our guest's end right there, so we'll see if we can optimize that and bring him back to give his opinion as regards the issue around multiple taxation and roadblocks across Nigeria. But in the meantime, we'll talk politics now. Presidential spokesman Ayo Ononuga says President Bola Tinubu will choose his 2027 running mate after the next convention of the ruling party. Ononuga's comments come in the wake of the controversy that marked the recent All Progressives Congress Stakeholders Summit in Gombe, where some speakers endorsed Tinubu for a second term without mentioning Vice President Kashim Shettima. The omission triggered outrage among delegates, some of whom disrupted the event with threats or violence. When he was asked why the presidency has been silent about the debate, Ononuga dismissed the subject as a non-issue. We tell you that the recent appointment into the board of Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission by the Rivers State sole administrator has sparked mixed reactions from the political class and residents. While the commission's establishment is aimed at conducting free, fair and credible local government elections in Rivers State, opinions are divided on the implications of the chairman's state of origin. The Central's Biola Festus has more in this report.
Upon his appointment as the administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas dissolved the Electoral Commission established by the suspended Governor Similala Yefubara and appointed a new board. About 2 months later, President Bola Tinubu forwarded names of the new appointees to the Senate for screening and confirmation, a move that generated diverse opinions among the people of Rivers State.
The National Assembly is trying to foist illegality on the people of Rivers State. So they shouldn't accept, that nomination. The whole thing is entirely, foundationally illegal. So the primary thing is that it is a governor that has the power to appoint. The executive in Rivers State has been captured illegally by the removal of the governor and the House of Assembly. The judiciary, we believe, has also been captured. INEC is also another body that has been captured. So it's not a democracy.
However, many Rivers people are uncomfortable with the appointment of a non-indigene, citing concerns about representation and potential bias.
The appointment of a non-Rivers man as a research chairman is an insult to Rivers State. It shows that Rivers State is finished. Rivers State does not exist again. Rivers State is gone. There are no men in Rivers State. Nobody is there again in Rivers State. It's a pity that Rivers State will come to that point. but God save us.
If the president or federal government could suspend the sitting governor, an elected governor, is it the RISEC chairman that's coming to conduct the election that will be the problem? No. And anyone that wants to participate, any party, is left for him or left for the party to do that.
The opportunity we give to Tinubu, he has misused the opportunity. We have so many people that would have handled that position. So, but I don't know why everything is happening like this, but all the same, we don't like it.
Meanwhile, some political actors see the potential benefits of an external body conducting the local government election, citing possibilities for neutrality and credibility in the electoral process.
What we want is the process of democracy to continue to thrive, especially at the grassroots level. People are suffering at the local government level now because there is no proper representation at the local government level. So if they are bringing somebody who is not from River State to make sure that local governments get their proper representation in the scheme of things, it's a welcome development. We are in support of it. We just want things to move on in the state.
Our governor is not there now in the seat. So if other parties can come up, because why I say so is because of the sufferings is too much on people. If you look, they are not paying salaries, and so if other parties will come up so that the representative can take over so that they will start paying people salary.
In a swift reaction, others seem to have resigned to fate, feeling that the president's influence over the state's affairs is inevitable.
They plan to conduct local government election. Whether it is legal or illegal, they don't care. All they know is that they want to take charge of the structure. They want to be in charge of anything called structure in River State. The president and his team, they have planned to hijack River State. River State does not belong to River people anymore. River State belongs to the president, Akpabio, and Wike.
It remains to be seen how several political parties in River State would accept the composition of the board into the state's independent electoral commission, with the local council polls expected to be conducted in August this year. Time will tell. In River State, for News Central, Biola Festus.
Let's now talk about infrastructure in the FCT. President Bola Tinubu on Friday inaugurated the newly constructed arterial road N5 Obafemi Awolowo Way from Life Camp Junction to Ring Road 3 in Abuja. Friday's inauguration was in continuation of a project inauguration series initiated by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to mark the second anniversary of the Tinubu administration. President Tinubu was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who praised the FCT Minister for his tireless commitment to the Renewed Hope agenda. Also present was Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, along with top leaders of the Federal Capital Territory administration.
Thing of great joy for me to commission the arterial road N5 from Life Camp Junction to Ring Road 3 in the heart of the Federal Capital City. The arterial road N5 represents what we can achieve when vision meets action. It reflects on our commitment to deliver a modern infrastructure that improves the daily lives of our people. This road, named after a man of vision, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, now carries the legacy of forward-thinking leadership into the future of our capital city. It is therefore now my honor to commission the arterial road M5 to the glory of God, a symbol of our collective progress and commitment to a better future. God bless FCT, God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We're here to make the residents of Abuja to be happy. We're here to make those who pass our budget to really know. And luckily for me, in all the projects we commission, the executive is involved, the legislature is involved. So by the time the president sends our budget to you, and you will say, look, we have been there, we have seen it is correct that anything we pass in the budget, they always execute. Mr. President, I want to appeal to you as you come to commission this project. It's an appeal to you that we cannot survive this without people paying their taxes. It's open up the entire Abuja, but he won't do it with his blood. It is by us doing our own, by making sure we obey the laws, by making sure we carry out our own obligation of paying the little tax that is supposed to be. On this note, Mr. President, I invite you to talk to the Abuja residents and then inaugurate this arterial road N5.
Now, farmers in Abia State say the diversion of interest from agriculture to white-collar jobs and lack of proper guidance for farmers are part of the reasons Nigeria is yet to attain food sustainability. While governments at various levels try to empower farmers with funds and seedlings, they're also expected to ensure that they are taught the business aspect of agriculture. The Central Chibogele has more.
The recent agricultural summit in Abia State campaigns for the people to embrace agriculture and possibly make it the mainstay of the economy took center stage.
We are working closely with development partners and relevant government agencies to make sure that agriculture becomes the backbone of our local economy once again.
Over time, activities done every farming season fail to produce substantial food for the masses.
If Nigeria can embark so powerfully on one, palm production, cassava production, yam production, tomatoes, as whatever one can deal on, Nigeria can then produce food that will aid them and then enable them to export food.
Farmers suggest that to make the farming process successful and more productive in the state, there's need to form clusters.
If we are going for grant or for loan, let it be in a cluster, let it be in a commercial level, mechanized, so that the profit, the return on investment will be very great. And with the knowledge of whatever it is, the accurate planning and the timely planning, you understand that that knowledge you have, you now use it and you will not have much loss.
Others demand grants to support food availability.
Most people are peasant farmers. At least let it be a stepping stone for them to start real farming.
There's, however, a call for people to invest more in cocoa farming to reposition the state agriculturally, as was the case in the past.
There's a potential in it. I'm looking at in 100 years today, cocoa will still be thriving. The business will still be high. So if you can key in now, I'm very certain next year, the other year, a couple of years to come, you see us flying. And you see that the attention the country at large has given to oil might start reducing. Our focus now will now switch towards agriculture, which is where the money is.
The farmers identify herders' intrusion of their farmlands as part of the setbacks in attaining food security.
But if they cannot come out and wage the war, these unknown people that are attacking these people that are producing food, the nation will still be suffering.
We are partnering with hunters, we are partnering with forest guards. So all these guys, we are all together working to ensure that our place is safe.
Beyond seasonal provision of seedlings and farm inputs to farmers, government and other stakeholders are expected to adopt more practical and proactive ways of tackling food insecurity. In Manja for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
We're now going on a short break on the news. When we return, we'll tell you about addressing traffic violations. Don't go away. Now, as thousands of drivers traverse Nigeria city's roads, residents are increasingly ignoring rules that keep the road safe. From disregarding traffic lights to road signs, these violations are becoming an inconvenient trend. News Central's correspondent Aishat Salihu dives into the causes, the risks and effects on the public, as well as efforts being made to stop these growing threats.
Irresponsible driving is becoming a normal trend in Nigeria's federal capital Abuja, as the city has been described as a destination where many drivers do not have respect for the rules and regulations guiding driving. This, according to safety experts, lead to road crashes, putting the lives and property of road users at risk.
Unless you are crossing the road when cars are moving, that's when the and blame can follow you. But as long as there's a red light and you're meant to cross the road, the blame falls on the driver's part.
The driver that we see, some of them learned from the transporter and from Agbero to become driver. And what he sees his organ doing, that is what he will also do when he gets a car.
Although residents apportion most of the blame to the drivers, the commercial drivers admit there is no excuse for violation of traffic laws. They blame infrastructural deficits, lack of patience, and irresponsibility of drivers for this behavior.
Most times, traffic lights are not functional. Sometimes you see that one is a malfunction, and we do cause accidents on the road.
Somebody may they hold up now that office to. Before you go start, the traffic lights counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you know 5, you don't stop. And then you whether you back want to beat up police say you that I go say beat traffic lights.
When you are going for your driver's license, we have the driving code booklet that is being given to each and every driver for you to observe and follow. But impatience is actually the major cause why we have accidents, damages of life and properties.
The effects of these violations go beyond inconvenience for road users. They lead to preventable road crashes, noise-induced stress, loss of productivity, and in some cases, fatalities.
The FRSC maintains that the frequency of road crashes in Abuja has reduced since the introduction of Operation Carrara, set up since September 2024 to enforce traffic light violations.
The fine for breaking light is 3,000, while the fines for what the breaking the light will have cost is 50,000, what we call dangerous driving, DTT. So we help you combine the two. And at the end of the day, when you are arrested and booked, you are not being taken to court. You are made to pay the fines of 53,000 naira. And this, within that space, assisted in checkmating and petty sabotaging on our roads, where we move around the FCT, in virtually is all over the federation, and pick all these points where there are 40 traffic lights and sent to the appropriate quotas. So for them to rectify, that is the best FRSA can take.
Traffic laws have been designed to save lives, not to be ignored, but from reckless drivers to unauthorized usage of road signages, it is believed that when the culture of indiscipline ends, total safety would be restored to Abuja roads. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
From that, Nigerians have been tasked to join the campaign in ending plastic waste, which has become a hazard to the nation's environment. This was as experts converged on Abuja to review attempts by Nigerian youth to tackle the nation's plastic waste problem by promoting recycling using art and technology. Amadin Uyi reports.
It was an opportunity to showcase art and technology using recycled plastic waste. The event, organized by international non-governmental organization, the Action Aid of Nigeria, also aimed at reviewing efforts at managing and eradicating plastic pollution in a bid to protect the environment. With Nigeria generating about 2.8 million kilograms of waste daily, including over 60 million plastic sachet water bags, experts say the recycled plastic market is a money spinner for many and can be utilized as a lucrative opportunity to earn income and empower citizens.
The recycled plastic market is projected to hit over $107 billion by 2032. Nigeria's circular economy alone is worth over 10 billion and is still growing. The African Development Bank says that if we transition fully, Africa could unlock 350 billion in new economic opportunities by 2030. But we need the right systems to make this real.
A representative from Nigeria's Ministry of Women Affairs in attendance says that ending the nation's plastic pollution is possible and called on women nationwide to join the campaign against single-use plastics.
Treating plastic solution is not someone else's job. It is our collective responsibility. And I call on women across all spaces, from boardrooms to markets, from malls to churches, from to traditional councils to rise and lead this campaign. Say no to single-use plastics.
One of the participants at the event revealed her motivation for joining the effort to rid a community of plastic waste using art and technology.
When I see waste, I see wealth. I see money, because that's how I make a living. Over time, I have built an initiative out of converting plastic bottles and textile waste into beautiful, fashionable jewelry that people can wear every day, and they are very unique. I've been doing that since 2019, and it has taken me into places that I would have only imagined to be.
Experts say Nigeria produces 13% of plastic waste from an estimated 21.7 million kilograms of municipal solid waste. They say about 81% of this waste is not properly managed and has become a hazard to the environment. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
A deadly attack has rocked western Niger Republic, where armed fighters launched a large-scale assault on the town of Banibangou near the border with Mali. The Nigerian Defense Ministry says the attackers, described as heavily armed mercenaries, stormed the town in 8 vehicles and over 200 motorbikes. In what officials called a cowardly and barbaric assault, 34 soldiers were killed and 14 others injured. The attackers reportedly overran the town's defenses before escaping the scene. Authorities have strongly condemned the violence and vowed to hunt down those responsible. Now, as South Africa gears up to host the G20 summit later this year, it is placing tourism in the spotlight, starting with the first ever Africa Glamping Expo held at the Nasrec Expo Center in Johannesburg. News Central's Bongani Siziba tells us more.
Under the theme Reimagining Innovation and Regenerative Tourism, this groundbreaking event brings together top minds and industry leaders in glamping and ecotourism, showcasing the future of sustainable experience-driven travel.
Most importantly, it's about what glamping is also, about in terms of, conservation, in terms of ecotourism, in terms of taking less, from the environment. So there's a huge uptake as we see a lot of people that are wanting to travel responsibly. We have people, eco-conscious people who are aware of what the planet is going through.
The expo positions South Africa at the forefront of Africa's tourism revival, encouraging cross-border collaborations and attracting fresh investment to the continent.
Business events are important in Gauteng because they bring new money into the destination, and that new money can assist to grow the economy, but also assist in bringing jobs, new jobs, but also existing jobs. And when the businesses grow, not only they don't only grow for Gauteng, but they grow for the African continent and for the global citizen.
There is a huge gap with South African tourism, as majority of South Africans love to travel elsewhere, whereas we have beautiful nature, beautiful reserves.
Tourism is opening new pathways for economic growth, job creation and sustainable development, while promoting South African culture across the continent. But the industry still faces hurdles, with some businesses struggling to fully recover from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic.
The challenges that we face, especially after COVID, things haven't been easy. They've been going up and down, but COVID actually erased most of the things that we did. It was promising before COVID.
Despite the challenges, South African tourism sector is on a strong rebound in 2025. Both domestic and international visitor number are on the rise, And according to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the industry contribution to national GDP is projected to hit 8.9%. In Johannesburg, for News Central, Bongani Sizimo.
Outside of Africa, we tell you that foreign ministers from the UK, France and Germany are meeting with Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Geneva on Friday in a fresh bid to defuse the growing conflict between Israel and Iran. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy says a window now exists within the next 2 weeks to reach a diplomatic solution to the crisis. His comments come after US President Donald Trump announced he will decide within a fortnight whether to launch direct military action against Iran. The urgency follows a sharp escalation in violence, that is, Israeli strikes that have reportedly hit missile sites in Tehran, while Iran has retaliated with missile attacks on Israeli territory, leaving several civilians injured. European leaders are hoping the Geneva talks can halt further bloodshed, stressing diplomacy as the only viable way forward, despite rising tensions and the notable absence of the U.S. Special Envoy from the negotiations. We also tell you that China has accused the European Union of double standards after the EU banned Chinese firms from participating in government medical device contracts worth more than €5 million. This move, announced by the European Commission, aims to address China's long-standing restrictions on EU companies accessing its medical device market. The EU's decision affects contracts valued at around €60 billion annually, covering a wide range of medical equipment. The EU insists the ban promotes fair competition and market reciprocity, while China calls it protectionist and unfair.
欧盟一贯标榜是全球最开放的市场，但事实上，一步步走向保护主义，动辄付诸单边经贸工具，以公平竞争之名行不公平竞争之实，是典型的双重标准。中方尊重各国依法在台湾海峡相关海域享有的航行权利，但坚决反对任何国家以航行自由为名进行挑衅、威胁中国的主权安全。关于涉 TikTok 的问题，中方已多次阐明原则立场，将继续依据中国的法律法规。
And that's about this hour on the news, but then we look at our top stories before we go. 15 people have been reportedly killed as gunmen invaded Bokkos and Mangu local government areas in Plateau State. National Security Advisor and 36 states have launched a joint action to tackle food inflation. We also told you that 34 Nigerian soldiers have been killed in an attack close to the border with Mali. Or you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And of course, follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Likon Onobanjo.